your areas by now. Like, what's happening over there? What is happening over there?
Some of us were feeding our face and didn't want everyone to watch.
We don't mind. I mean,
I do.
well, see, that's a personal thing. You see, that's not a me
I
thing.
know.
That's a you thing. I don't mind. I just want to know what you're eating.
Scrambled eggs.
Sounds good. All I have is water and trace essential minerals to be drinking right now. So, and now my stand-up desk isn't working. Edwin, what's going on over here? I guess we're
I just
sitting
read
down.
something that said they're not good for you.
Huh?
I just read something that said they can do more harm than good,
No.
especially for sciatica.
I'm fine. We'll live.
Yeah.
Let's get some wins in the chat. Let's get some wins in the chat. We learned to listen. You know how you could tell we all went to school in the same schools is we're waiting for permission to talk.
Recording in progress.
We're all waiting for permission to talk, even though you guys all know each other. So many of you guys know each other. There's a lot of guests here, but so many of you guys know each other, and yet we're all waiting to talk. Camila, how was Joe Dispenza? Oh, why are there so many cameras off? Anybody know why there's so many cameras off today? Are you guys all just like getting out of bed? Come on, turn on your cameras.
If we turn on our cameras, some of us have like children running around.
That's
so
all right.
but we don't want to have to do that. But I hear you.
No. That's a limiting belief. We are child friendly. Don't you try to get away and be like, oh, blame it on the kids. No. If you haven't taken a shower yet this morning, just say I haven't showered and I'm not ready for this. That's okay. But we are children friendly. Camila was at a Joe Dispenza event over the weekend, and she crushed it. Can I give you guys a pet peeve of mine that I've been seeing on forums lately? People go to introduce themselves. They don't tell anything about why somebody should work with them. They don't give any information about how they can help the community. All they do is say, hey, I'm here, I'm new, and I'm open for referrals, and I'm in this neighborhood. It drives me crazy. I actually put a post on it somewhere. Pretty sure I got banned off of that forum. It's like, y'all lead with service, not with self. Can we agree to lead with service, not with self? Can I get a one in the chat that we are going to lead with service, not with self? Because is it true that a lot of us don't want to lead with self, but we do lead with self? I had to close some stuff out here. And if we lead with self, do you think that the people you're talking to don't pick up on what you're putting down? Do you think that in the world that we live in, that the buyers and sellers that you want to do business with you do not smell your commission breath from a mile away with the stuff that you do and the stuff that you say? So let's lead with service, not with self. Because when you lead with self, it's all about who. Oh, look, even Zoom agrees with me. We are popping fireworks over here somehow. Here's how you lead with service. Number one, write this down. This is probably very valuable. You consult, right? You consult with the prospect before you do anything else. You don't treat a buyer any differently than you would treat a seller. Because how many of you guys would list a home with the seller without having a listing presentation? Who here would list a home without doing a listing presentation? I'm not talking about the one rare offs. I'm talking about the normal. Nobody would. But how many of you guys go show homes without sitting down to talk to the buyer? You don't have to put yourself out there. I'm not going to do that to you. But I know Most of the industry does that. Now, I know if you've been working with me and you're gone through Triz, you don't. Nadia is the only one person willing to share that she was an old search and show agent. Because here's the truth. If you're not willing to put in the work, I'm supposed to spotlight myself. I'm sorry. I get yelled at. I'm going to get yelled at. Hold on, I got to spotlight myself. Oh, there we go. I'm going to go back to gallery so I can see you guys, not my face. The truth is, bless you. Salud, dinero, amor, más. No more? Oh, I stole your sneezes. Sorry, stole your sneezes.
It's fine. I forgive you.
Okay. I wasn't. Yeah. Don't kill me. I'm a little far right now from you guys. I stay on another continent for safety reasons. The truth of the matter is, if you don't want to follow a presentation process, you're no better than a Redfin agent. And do you know why Redfin sold? And I know a lot of people say they sold for a lot of money, but you know why they sold? It's because they're just shitty agents.
Their model is not sustainable.
Yeah, because it's a shitty company. Outside of their data, everything they do is mediocre and piss poor. How many of you guys here hate Zillow? Just one person? Okay.
I don't hate it. I just don't like it.
Okay. How many of you guys dislike Zillow with a hatred passion? Oh, you guys are not as many people I thought. Okay. Oh, if you think Zillow leads are difficult, don't ever buy leads anywhere. If you want bottom of funnel leads and the most closely person ready to buy, it's Zillow. That's why they charge what they charge, because they own the buyer marketplace. Because when people think about going to buy a house, they're like, oh, let's go to Zillow. So if you don't like Zillow leads, don't buy leads until you go through the ultimate appointment booking formula and you practice your overarching goal and probing and clarifying. I personally have no feelings towards Zillow. But so many of you guys dislike Zillow. Many of you hate Zillow. And yet we follow the same process that Zillow teaches their agents. You know what that process is? Search and show. Anybody here ever buy leads from Zillow and Zillow says to you, go show them a house, get a single agent property agreement, and then wow them with your personality once you're there and get them to become your client? How in God's name are you supposed to get somebody to work with you when they're not even concerned about who you are as a human being? Oh, you get to the house and you wow them. Well, prices the last time I checked at an all-time high, interest rates at an all-time high, inflation at an all-time, it's come down, but still at all-time highs. I don't know about what you guys think, but every time I get on TikTok or YouTube, I'm looking up cars. I'm looking up Matt, the guy that builds cars, and Diesel, and what's his name? Diesel. What's the guy's name? Somebody help me out. Diesel something. He's got 4 million subscribers. Somebody's got to know him. Whistling Diesel. That's the type of stuff I watch when I go home to turn my brain off. And I still get fed nonstop political shit about how the world's coming to an end on both sides. I can't even imagine. People are blowing up Teslas right now. I'm like, why? I didn't know why. But guess what? YouTube told me. And then TikTok confirmed it. I was like, what the hell is going on in this world? It doesn't make sense. You got yelled at for not owning a Tesla. Now people are blowing them up. I'm like, what's wrong with... Do you guys see why I live in another continent for safety? By the way, I live in Thailand. Don't come to where I'm at. You guys don't come to where I'm at. We don't need any more foreigners here. Y'all just stay where you're at, okay? So we don't like Zillow. We don't like Redfin, yet we do the exact same thing that Zillow and Redfin tells us to do. Helena, I'm making a strong case to learn the buyer presentation, aren't I? Like, every time somebody says, I don't want to learn it, I'm just going to be like, Redfin. Rocket Redfin. I start coughing. So can we make a promise for my non-clients here? I've been actually put into an insane asylum. That's why I'm no longer in the United States, because I ran from it. I've done over 1,000 buyer presentations. I have not sold 1,000 homes. The average number of homes that my office and myself showed was under 10. We lived in the most competitive market in one of those competitive times when we sold real estate. Average number of offers per home was around 12, which means there was a decent amount of competition. Everybody that we competed against was just like our clients, super heavy qualified. Most of our clients could pay cash. Huge down payments, right? Credit scores that were higher than my IQ and my SAT scores combined. I don't even know how you got that high of a credit score. Do you think, and they all happen to be Indian and Chinese. Every now and then I got lucky and I got a white folk. God, those are so much easier. Oh, they never wanted commission back. They're like, oh my God, Vic, can we take you out to dinner? And I'm like, that'd be great. Can I leave my wallet at home? Yes, we'll pay. You've done such a great job. Indian people, they're like, so do we get the car with the house closing too? And I'm like, you just asked for 99% commission back. And you want me to take you and your extended family out to dinner in India. And you want my range? I'm like, oh my God, why do you guys hate me so much? I'm just trying to help you buy a house. Like, oh, and by the way, we can only see houses at 7 o'clock at night. And we only have an hour block. And we want to work only on the weekends. And during Monday through Friday, we can't answer calls from 9 to 5. I'll see you guys later. Right, Emilio, right? Right, Rambo, right? So think about that clientele. Your clientele might not be that difficult. Do you think that you need to spend time with them showing houses and being their door opener? Or do you think you need to spend time with them walking them through your process and being their guide, their doctor? Because remember, we showed less than 10 houses. There's 10 to 12, 15, sometimes 42 offers on a house. Prices would start at $600, end at $875. Matt, you know this market. Am I lying? It might not be as horrible now where prices are escalating so high, but there were some houses where the escalation clauses were, we will beat any other home. Now, thank God these agents don't know how to write offers. We'll beat any other offer by $1,000 up to $100,000 over on a $750,000 house. Matt can't find those houses anymore because they're gone. But there used to be houses in Redmond Ridge for $700,000, $800,000. They're now 1.2 million probably. So like I ask you this question. If you were to buy a set of knives, call them Cutco knives, and they're $1,600, and I said, hey guys, I have a set of knives that are $1,600. They come with 8 steak knives, 8 kitchen knives, and two forks, one turning fork to turn your meat, and one carving fork for your turkeys, and a pair of scissors, and it was $1,600. How many of you guys are buying that set of knives? There's $1,600 plus tax and shipping. Call it $1,850, almost $2K. Just call it fucking $2K. $2,000 for a set of knives. How many of you guys are pulling out your credit cards right now for a $2K set of knives? Rambo, you're cheap. I would never try to sell it. Nadia, you too? You like what? Henkel's? God, supporting your own people? That's wow. Why are you guys not excited to buy a set of knives for $2,000? They have a forever guarantee. They're made right here in the United States of America, in Olean, New York. You could go visit the factory. It's a beautiful thing. You could break the knife in half. I'm not going to break my pencil, but you could break the knife in half and send it back to the company. The company will send you a brand new one. 85% of the time, they send it to you back free of charge. All you do is pay for shipping and handling both ways. And they literally send you a brand new one. Forever guarantee. Like, they'll even send college kids out to your house that want to sell you more stuff and sharpen your knives for free in your house. So you don't have to take it to the mall. I still don't see anybody who wants me to give you my rep number. You guys call them. My rep number is 1103-9186. I get a 30% commission. I'll give you 10%. 1% back. Don't worry, I got you, my friend. No, the reason why you're not throwing out your credit cards, which if I sat down with each one of you, you'd all be giving me your credit cards. Because after I do my presentation, I talk about the 3 nickel steel rivets. I talk about the polypropylene handles that don't melt when you put them in the dishwasher. I talk about the recessed double D edge, which isn't serrated, but it looks serrated. So it stays sharp for 7 to 10 years before the first sharpening. After I show you and I put the knives in your hands and you feel them and you touch them, a lot of credit cards start coming out. But why don't the credit cards come out when I just tell you it's $2,000? Trust. What else? There's no proof. It's just words. You guys, it's Cutco, damn it. They've been around from 1959, because it was their 50th year anniversary when I started selling them in 1999. 1949. That sounded awkward. 1949. How the frick do I know this stuff about a company that I worked for when I was 17 years old? Helena, please send me your credit card. Should we just charge you right now the extra $500? You think I don't read that shit? The only thing I saw there was $500. The reason why we remember these things is because we are committed to mastery. And the reason why we sold so much Cutco and our reps at 18, our rep, my office, my reps had the highest average production out of every office in the country. I was 18. 47 reps. Why? Because we were committed to mastery. Our presentations were better than every other person in the countries. So a lot of you guys, you're not going to get shit. You told me you're giving me $500 to stop talking. I'm done. It's a good use of 30 minutes. We're down to 26. I got here 5 minutes late because there's guys doing the wires on my cables back here on the table. $500 for 21 minutes. It's perfect. The reason why your clients will refer you business, will do whatever you tell them to do, will waive all of their contingencies, will put 5% earnest money down, is because you have to walk them through everything. And so there's this thing called the four outs, let's call it. And what that is the way that your buyer can back out of agreements in a normal market. And if you want to get them to waive those 4 outs, then you need to talk about it before you ask them to give up their rights. Because if you're going to ask somebody to give up their rights to protection, then you need to walk them through what that protection is. So what are the ways that a buyer can typically get out of an agreement? What are the contingencies, the clauses, different markets, different names, but one is what? So we have a financial, right? We have a financial contingency. We have an inspection contingency. Oftentimes we have a separate appraisal contingency, right? We have a market condition contingency, right? The disclosure forms. If you're in a condo, you have the condo approval contingencies. California now has insurance contingencies. So you might have 5 outs. You might have 6 outs. You might be in a market with you only have 3 because things are layered in. Some markets, the financial contingency includes the appraisal contingency. But they're 2 separate things because one's in a loan approval, one's a financial approval on the appraisal coming back at value or higher. What happens if a buyer goes in and the appraisal comes low? You can unmute yourself. What happens if the appraisal comes low?
Renegotiation.
You have to renegotiate the contract.
One option is renegotiate the contract. Second option is
Terminate.
They can
Continue the
pay
negotiation.
the difference.
terminator. Third option is.
To fight it.
Fourth option is.
Move forward.
Paid appraisal gap. They can pay it.
It sounds complicated to me. I'm pretty smart. I'm Indian. It's kind of built into my genes from what I was told. No laughs on that one? Oh, Kim's yawning over there. Wow. Kim's yawning. It's so boring. Kim's yawning. Wow. Throw the tomatoes. Is that complicated to talk about when you're standing at the front door of a home with somebody who's like, just show me the house. I don't need to go through all of your shit. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? I mean, I think it's complicated
Yeah, they don't know what the hell they're doing.
because they don't know
They
what.
think
Kim?
they do.
The hell they're doing.
And Helena, they think what?
They think they do.
And so do you see that just right there on the financial contingency, there's 4 to 6 options depending on your market. When do you talk about that?
Up front before.
The buyer consultation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, Joey, what kind of motorcycle is that?
Squirrel.
Sorry, I saw something cool. I like cool
Sorry.
things.
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you. It's a British Triumph Trident.
Ooh. You keep that away from me because I don't know how to ride motorcycles and I like to go very fast. And so
That is not negotiable, sir. You gotta write it.
okay,
I'll teach you.
I am in. I am all about dying. So I am in. Let's go. When do I come visit you?
Whenever you want.
Okay, I'll make sure to do some extra Pilates so I have more upper body and core strength. Do you guys see how we can use a little bit of humor as well to have fun? Second way they can get out is a financial. So we talked about which one? We talked about the financial contingency on the appraisal. The second thing we need to discuss with the buyers is the financial contingency if their loan's not approved. What could cause, anybody here ever have their doctor client that's buying a short sale that's you've already fixed their credit because the wife forgot to pay $17 on her Macy's card 4 years prior to them getting married, and then decides to buy a fucking Tesla 7 days before closing. Because why? Because their Prius was no longer on lease and Toyota called them and said, we want our car back. So instead of extending it for 30 days, they go out and buy a brand new Tesla. The payments are the same. In fact, the payments are less. Why are the payments less? Because they wired Tesla $22,000 and gave back their Prius. And so the payments were the same, but what happened to their debt to income and their cash reserve? Not their debt to income, but their cash reserves.
It went down and their debt went up.
It went down and their debt went up. But the payments are the same, Vikram. Oh, and by the way, we also just spent $18,000 on furniture. And how did you pay for it? Well, we put it on the Amex, of course, because we wanted to get the points. We've only been working on this house for 4 months. We went through a buyer consultation, but you know what we didn't talk about at that buyer consultation? Because they're a doctor, is what happens if the loan's not approved. Because why wouldn't he get approved? He makes $450,000. They're buying an $800,000 house, maybe a $1.1 million. I can't remember. Why wouldn't he get approved? Oh, because they have other things in their life outside of just that. Because he's also got $800,000 in student loans. So he goes out and buys a car and buys furniture, all on credit. 10 days before closing of a 9-month, like literally 6 to 9 month sale process, because it was a short sale. So inside of your loan approval, do you think that these are things that we should talk about, what not to do when you're in the process of buying a home without talking to your advisor or to me? Because I like to consider myself God of the transaction for them. And anything other than normal groceries and shoes for their kids, who should they ask questions to when it's time to buy a home, especially under contract if they're financing?
Us.
Yes. Because you know what happens? We alleviate stress. This is called a process. And when they have a process that they follow, guess what they do? They send you lots of referrals. And guess how many agents spend the time to walk people through this exact stuff? Less than 2% of the marketplace. You know, I know because I've talked to you guys for the last 12 years. And I've trained you guys. But Vic, the signature buyer presentation you have inside of the portal is long. It's long because there's a lot of information we have to give to the buyer. But they already know it. No, they don't. Because I guarantee you there's people on this call that are learning something new about loan approvals and inspections. Now, what happens in the inspection contingency? Are there a certain amount of days that we need to make responses to in the contract? In some markets, you get a certain amount of days, business days, and then once it crosses a certain amount of days, it goes to calendar days. I know in the Pacific Northwest, I think it's three business days, or it's after that it's calendar days, or maybe it's 5. I don't remember now.
Once it goes over 3, I think.
Once you go over 3, I think. If you're in that market, you should know.
Well, for sure.
just call in some
I know
steam.
if I write an offer on a Wednesday and I do a 3-day, I get 5 days, let's say. So
Do you see how those numbers change? Because he wrote it on a Wednesday, so it's Thursday, Friday, Monday. Are those things important to walk your clients through? We have to specify in the contract business days. Do you think that the buyer is going to have bandwidth when they found their dream home and now they're under pressure to think about all these things? So we tell them these things when we're touring houses, in between going from house 1 to house 2. Now, what if you're in a market? Okay, so we talked about it. So if there's an inspection problem, right, which inevitably every market has problems in some parts. I only know the Pacific Northwest because that's where I sold. In the Pacific Northwest, every house has rodents and every house has some mold. Why? Because it rains 9 months out of the year and everything's built with a crawl space. And when you have a crawl space, that means you're underground, which means you're going to have some moisture issues. It also means that you're going to probably have some bugs and critters. And because there's a lot of trees, the critters can do what? Jump into your attics and crawl spaces, which means what? We're probably going to see some droppings, which means what? People are going to freak the hell out. and when you find that bright, how many of you guys have suited up and gone into a crawl space with your inspector? If you haven't, shame on you. If you have not suited up and gone into the crawl space with your inspector, shame on you. Call Darren from Pacific Northwest, Pacific Northwest Inspection Group, PNWP. Darren from Pacific Northwest Inspection Group. Okay. Give you his phone number and ask him. I don't have it anymore. What about
I think a septic tank inspection is even better than a crawl space.
You should probably, if you have a lot of septic tanks, that's a contingency. If you have a well, that's a contingency. If you have a horse property, there are different rules to the game. What's your niche that you're working on and what is in your marketplace? All of those things come up. And if you've never been inside of an attic and you've never been inside of a crawl space and if you've never been on top of a roof, right? Now, if it's a super sloped, pitched roof, I probably would say don't go to that one. But a normal pitched roof, right? You should get up on that ladder with your inspector and know what to look for. Because everybody wants to be a great listing agent, but if you don't know what the buyers or concerns are about, then you don't know how to advise your seller on what repairs to make. I don't know if I would get into the crawl space personally outside of my inspector going down there first, because we had some major large spiders in the Pacific Northwest, some very large, scary spiders that I just happened to run into one day when I was in a crawl space because we were flipping a house. And so I went down into the crawl space and I look up and there's this massive, like I'm talking as big as my hand. I swear to God, he was neon green. I probably made that up. And I jumped and screamed so loud that you could hear me from a mile away. And I'm like, I'm not going into crawl spaces no more. I'm definitely not going to crawl space. And then the next week I was in another crawl space. Why? Well, because you don't want to buy a house with a bunch of water down there and you don't know where the water's coming from. Yeah, they're not venomous. It don't matter. They scare the crap out of me. So in the inspection, right, when you talk about inspections, there's certain things you're going to bring up that kill deals. Because when you bring it up now and you let them know that it's normal, they get comfortable with it. And there's this thing called the law of familiarity. Anybody heard it before? The first time you do something, it's hard. The second time, it's a little hard. The third time, it's less hard. The fourth time, it's okay. The fifth time, you're like, I got this. This 10th time, you're like, this is no big deal. The 30th time, you're like, dude, I got this. Well, it's the same thing for them. We're familiarizing them with the problems they're going to run into early in the process so that when they run into them, guess what? Oh, yeah, Vic already told me there's going to be these things here. Sean already told me this is going to happen. Terry already told me these are things to be aware of. Leanne told me you have to be cautious of this stuff. This is just the market that we're in. Most houses have this problem. She told me exactly what we need to do if we're in a competitive situation. She told me exactly what we need to do and why this isn't as big of a deal as maybe something else in the problem of the house, like a foundational issue. So we now talked about finances, inspections, and loans. We've talked about appraisals, loans, finances. What else is there? If you have HOAs, right? Like Kim's in a big HOA market, right? So you have to go through these things up front. You don't need to spend hours on them, you guys. All you're doing is just tapping on them, just tapping, 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 tapping. The reason we tap on them early is so that when you get to the process of asking for them to work with you in a committed relationship, you have the confidence and certainty that you know that you're better than everybody else. They have the confidence and certainty that you're better than everybody else. And if anybody ever puts on their Zillow profile, because I read this shit all the time, and it's crazy that people would think that this is how they're going to win deals. I work with one person at a time. Like, that is not a selling point. That is a lack of a process point. How many of you guys want to go get surgery by a surgeon who's done 12 surgeries in the last 3 years? I don't see a lot of hands going up, people jumping for knives. Why not? Absolutely not. Not even a no, absolutely. You may as well throw an F-bomb in there, my friend. Because when something goes wrong, they don't have the experience to take care of it. I want a person to help my parents, right? My mom and dad are thinking about selling their house. I know they got shit wrong with their house. They've lived there for 35 years. They got lots of things that they probably should and shouldn't do. Do you think I want somebody who's going to help them because they work with one client at a time? Or do you think I want the person who sold 50 homes in their neighborhood to help them out? We say things thinking that it makes us sound more exclusive, but I don't want exclusivity. I want somebody who's working with a lot of people. I want somebody who's yeah, Molly sounds problematic, right? Helena, I don't know. People put that on their Zillow profiles. I look you guys up and I read this stuff and it makes me cringe. It makes me sad. And I see it more often than not. It sounds exclusive, but it's not. Because all somebody has to do is look up your history and they're like, well, it's always good until it's bad. And then when it's bad, you don't know what to do in the middle of it. And then you shut down and freak out. Yeah. That's why you're able to handle a lot of stuff. Because you know you have to be really on top of your life and your game and your people. People that are working with a lot of people realize that they don't have time to explain everything throughout the process during the process. There's only one way to explain it. And when is that? Up front. And then if that person decides that they don't want to work with you, or better yet, you decide you don't want to work with them, what do? You shake hands, part ways, and get out of the house. You shake hands, part ways, grab your coffee, and leave the coffee shop. When you're meeting with a lot of people every single week, right? When you guys are actually implementing the ultimate appointment booking formula, and you're learning their real overarching goal, you're learning their what behind the why, and then you sit down with 3 or 4 people a week, you say, well, who's got time for that? I don't know. Open your freaking calendars and tell me what do you do all day long? Because you should be doing 2 hours of prospecting. You should be doing at least 1 appointment a day because it's March 18th, which means spring season March Madness is here. So if you're not doing 1 appointment a week, if you're doing 1 appointment a week, that's better than most. But if you're not doing 3 to 5 a week, what are you doing? Well, I'm so busy. Well, show me what you're busy with, because busy is not productive. And what my coach asked me today was, hey, Vic, I love looking at all of your school portfolios and all the things and your training and all that stuff, but do you feel like sometimes you might be more busy than productive with your team? I was like, yeah, that's why I'm asking you to help me lighten it up. Oh, he's like, I'd love to help you lighten it up. He's like, love to help you take stuff out of it. He's like, but if you're trying to put more stuff in it, I don't think you need to. I was like, my training for my team's like insanely awesome, but they actually don't ever go through it because it's so much. Do you guys understand that in real estate, there's 3 sections that you have to learn? You have to learn how to book appointments with people you don't know. You have to learn the 7-figure, right? Or the signature buyer presentation. And you have to learn the signature listing presentation. If you go online and you're trying to piecemeal all of these things together, it will take you a decade. It will not be as good as what we have in the portal. And it will be piecemealed, which means it doesn't have flow to it. And because of that, your results will be better than if you don't do it, but they will not be where they should be. Because selling real estate isn't really super complicated when you figure those 3 pieces out. Yes, there's a lot of nuances that are going to come up. And yes, I get it. There's a lot of complexities. But it's funny, you guys will fight for your complexities with me, but a lot of agents won't fight to educate their buyers on the complexities of a transaction. You guys should all be afraid of rejection, but it's not rejection from a prospect. You know who you guys should be afraid of the rejection of? Of your credit card not swiping when you're at dinner with the client. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just being straight up effing real right now. Everybody should have that little bit of fear in their mind that this market could dry up very quickly. And as good as a tap is, it could shut down very quickly. And we've been on a great gravy train since 2012. The market didn't shut down. But there's a lot of shit going on in your markets right now. There is a lot of shit going on in your markets right now. There's tariffs, there's trade wars, there's real wars, there's threats of all sorts of violence happening. There is so much chaos. We have big brokerages being partnered that have never even thought about partnering, brokerages being bought up, potentials of brokerages that are huge being swallowed by smaller brokerages. There is a lot of chaos in the world right now of real estate, your professions. And there's going to be two types of agents. There's going to be the agent that's like, I'm here, I'm already learning how to solve this. Because the conversations that you need to have where people share their fears are not going to be inside of a home, and it's not going to be over a phone. It's going to be on a Zoom, or it's going to be belly to belly over a cup of coffee. And if you can't help them get through those fears, you're not going to get them to take action. And maybe they shouldn't take action because maybe it financially doesn't make sense for them. So then you don't have them in your pipeline, because so many of us have dead leads in our pipeline. I don't mean dead, but they're dead for right now because we don't put the time in, because it makes us feel a false sense of security. So when you learn your 4 outs or your 5 outs, whatever your market is, 3 outs, and you can explain those to your prospect, then when it comes time to winning offers, your prospects are already familiar. And then, like, I only know Matt's market, right? But I know on page 5 of the purchase and sale agreement, there's an item called Line X, and Line X gives 5 days to the buyer to back out for anything. When I ask the buyer to cross that out, and I go in with an offer that's 17% over list price, 8% over list price, with an escalator that's going to take them up another 8%, and we're going to beat the other offers by 1.5%, right? $8,000 to $10,000. And we make the earnest money non-refundable, and we waive every single contingency. My buyers say, Vic, are you sure? Say, there's only one way to win a house in this market, and I told you we don't write offers, we win homes. What do you want to do? They go, we want to win the house. I said, well, this is what we got to do. They're like, let's do it. The conversation's simple. Hey, Vic, we want to see this house. It's over here. Well, we could, but remember we talked about like that one home that, we call it we didn't have the cool name Catalyst home, but remember we talked about that one home that we looked at? This doesn't meet any of those criteria. Why are we looking at it? Well, we just like the kitchen. Okay. Can you guys go look at it in an open house? Yeah. Do you need me to be there? No. Okay, cool. I don't want to drive 45 minutes out of my life without traffic. You do that because you put the energy up front into them, and they have the respect back for you. So we got 5 minutes, you guys. Believe it or not, we have 5 minutes. We have a whole 5 minutes, which never happens. The floor is open for questions. Was that helpful for anybody? Like the one person? I saw 7 people leave. Anybody get any value out of that?
Very helpful, thank you.
Okay. As long as somebody learned something, I'm happy.
I can't wait to get the replay of this. I missed the first part, but that back half was gold. Thank you.
Yeah, $10.
Vic, quick question.
Yes.
Quick question. This could sound silly. Have you ever told your buyers, hey guys, if I know property is not a great property, too many issues, I'll be the very first person to tell you to run away? Do you ever tell clients that?
No. I'll tell you what I said. Because it's not up to me to tell them anything. If I know a property's not a good fit, I'll tell you. Guys, if you guys send me stuff that's not a good fit, I'm just going to ask you the question, why are we looking at it? Because that means that everything else that we've been studying is either the wrong fit or something changed. So like if you guys send me something that doesn't make sense, is it cool if we have the banter before we go view it and waste time? Yes. Because my job's not to show homes, my job's to what? Help you win a property to move into. Right?
My thoughts are along the line, if the property needs too much work and I know they're not going to be able to handle it, if it's going to take too much money to fix it up, and the condition wise. I've told people that, and I sensed that they trusted me a little bit more after I told them, I'm here to protect you.
And I never tell them what they should or shouldn't do because it's not my money, but I will tell them based off of what you said exactly that. Hey guys, like this is a fixer based off the conversation I had with the agent. It needs this. And hold on, let me check. No, Vic, it's good. We're out. Okay. Just so that we don't go down this path again and you don't waste your time looking at properties you can't buy. Why were you even looking at this one? What do they always say?
Yeah, we'll pass.
But why,
You're right, we'll pass.
But when I asked them why they looked at it, what do they always say?
Oh,
We thought that there was value.
We thought there was value. Money. Phil nailed it, right? It's money. They saw the price. It was in a neighborhood that they're probably trying to get into, but it's a little bit more aspirational. And so the home needs work. And so I just give them the option. I'm like, hey guys, this fits the budget. Do you have about $250,000 to bring it up to what you want it to look like? Because that's what the agent said it would take based off of some bids she got from the contractor to get it to where you want it to be. No. Okay. So why did we look at the house? Well, because we really want to be in this neighborhood, but okay, well, we can get in this neighborhood, but the house is going to be in 2 bedrooms. Would that work for you? No. Okay, so can we eliminate that whole neighborhood? Because right now, unless you're willing to bring more money to the table and increase your budget, this is out of the, no, I can't do that. Okay, so what do? We just eliminated that entire neighborhood. And what it does is it gives them complete clarity and focus of what they're searching for.
excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Good question. What else you guys got?
I have a question.
Yes.
What about a house that's $1 million over comps that your buyers want? It's their catalyst home. They're ready to make an offer.
So it's the listing is aspirationally priced.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's beautiful. It's perfect for them, but I can't let them buy it.
Whoa. You guys are not the gatekeepers of these people.
Why? Why can't you let them?
Because it's not the right thing to do.
Hold on.
That's just
That's
about
who?
me making a
That's who?
sale.
No. You guys, there's playing God, and then there's playing advocate. And then there's adults making adult decisions. I'm not God. Just like I said to Joey, if they want to go buy the property, they're welcome to buy it. I will make sure they win. My job isn't to tell them what to do. My job is to advise. And what I would advise you guys based off of this property is that we would really need to come in low. If this is the perfect home, there's nothing else in the neighborhood, then they are aspirational, right? Because remember, the definition of aspirational pricing is that the property is unique for the neighborhood. So if the property is unique for the neighborhood, and it's not us to decide, it's up to them to decide based off of what they've seen, how long they've been looking. I'm not going to tell them whether they should or shouldn't. I'm going to tell them the facts, and they say, where should we go from here?
Are you saying aspirational in the way that the property looks and orients, or aspirational in the price of the property?
It's the price. It's not in the way it looks or what,
Yeah, but
what
Victor,
they've
are
done
you
to
saying
it.
that's what dictates aspiration? Is it the price or the actual uniqueness of the property? Because I thought it was the price.
No.
Not unique property.
Aspirational pricing is because the property has unique features.
Oh, that's what you're
So
saying.
does the property have unique features, and that's why they love it?
No, I mean, it's remodeled, all renovated, but they're not going to overpay. They don't want to overpay either. They're not stupid people. They're not going to spend,
But again, that's their choice. So then I would say,
okay, but
the property
about this, how is the listing agent? These are cash people.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
We can't.
But how's the listing agent? Okay, but what if they were financed? How is the listing agent going to?
Now we're playing a hypothetical game.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be, it would never be appraised at the price.
But that's not our, but are you trying to justify why we're not offering? And are you trying to figure out how to have a conversation with the listing agent? Or, because here's the thing. You don't control anybody. You don't control your buyer. Your buyer could say, hey, I'll buy the house. It's fully remodeled. I'm ready to go.
Right, but they are not ready to, they know it's overpriced. They're not ready to do that.
Right. So you say, hey, what we'll do is we'll write an offer for what we feel it's fair. And then you write an offer.
Right.
Right. The listing agent, right? The listing agent is probably not necessarily, they could be a weak agent. They could,
No.
Okay. So then they're dealing with a very stubborn seller. And the seller believes that their property is worth more than what the property's worth.
Or the listing.
Yeah, I could do the appraisal contingency or get an appraisal.
It's not, but I can tell you that you should have a conversation with the listing agent.
I will, definitely.
And then you tell your clients, like, this probably isn't the house for us. Like, we can look at this property as a benchmark. We look at this property as a benchmark property, right? So, hey, Terry, that house is gorgeous. Tell me, what do you like about it? Blah, 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 blah. Anything you don't like about it? No, it's perfect.
So certainly, this is something.
Who do we need to mute? Oh, thanks, Phil. Let's do this. This property's probably somewhere between 30 to maybe up to a year away from the seller being reasonable. Because if we're $1 million over, are we $1 million on $1 million, or are we $1 million on $10 million? Because the percentage matters. If we're overpriced by 10%, that's not as bad as being overpriced by 80%. So is it $1 million on $1 million, or is it $1 million on $4 million? Is it $1 million on $10 million? What's the price that it should be in the range of?
Well, it should be like half of that.
Well, I don't know what half of, how much is the house should be.
So the house is $2,950,000.
So 2 million, so 2.1 or 3.
3.95.
3.
3 million.
2.955. Well, the comparable that's active right now just dropped to $1,975,000.
Okay.
And the only difference is the pool's in the front and they want the pool in the back, basically, and there's furnishings.
Well, that's a big difference.
It's huge.
Pool in the front versus pool in the back is a big deal.
Well,
That's a,
okay, but it's not $1 million.
but that's a big deal. That is a structural, that makes the property far more valuable than the pool in the front. So they need to know that. So let's call it $500,000 on 2 points. So it should be 2.5. It's 2.9.
Yeah.
What's the
2.5, 2.6 they would do, I think.
So what we need to do is we need to work out of percentages. So I grab my calculator. So 3 mil divided by 2.6. Oh, 2.6 divided by 3 million. It's only 14% over.
Looks better.
But do you see how when we bring in our perceptions and our, right? This is why we have to talk about things. Because I'm not going to tell them what they should or shouldn't do. Who am I to say?
I'm not telling them either.
Yeah, but when I look at the numbers, I'm like, all right, guys, well, that house is $1.9 million. Okay, well, let's go buy it. It's a great deal. Well, we don't like it. Why not? Because the pool's in the front. Okay, well, how much would it cost to fill in the pool, buy the neighbor's land because we don't have enough space, build the pool in the back? Well, Terry, we're not going to do that. But do you see, guys, like we're comparing an orange to an apple because this land is structurally different by the way the placement of the house. So it's probably not $1 million difference. It's probably about couple $100,000 where they're aspirationally priced. And now we come in, instead of trying to offer $2 million, hey, let's start at maybe 2.5, 2.6, because if we're not reasonable, they're going to shut down.
Right.
And then let's see where they come back at. It's probably, the house is probably worth somewhere, I haven't seen it, but if we looked at enough data, the house is probably worth, with what's available and what's been coming on the market. And that's the other thing is, I look at the last 12 months of inventory.
Yeah, that's
And
what
then
I
I
did.
say, have we found anything in the last 12 months that makes sense? No. Then I go right back to their overarching goal. So tell me, why was it that you guys were looking to move again? Open the emotion. Once the emotion, I can't remember who said something. I was trading with Frederick Eklund my first year in real estate, and I was in New York. And we went into one of his properties. We're sitting on the rooftop of this flippin' amazing property. Like, it was insane. We're sitting on the rooftop, and we have our little cocktails, and there's a private elevator in the building and for the unit itself, and the elevator opened up to the unit. Never seen anything like this, right? Unit's spectacular. $30 million. $30 million. He goes, yeah. I said, well, that's crazy. He goes, why? I said, well, I don't know, because I grew up in Bakersfield, bro. Like, I'm never heard of a price tag as $30 million, right? I grew up in a country boy, man. I spent my summers on my grandparents' tractors. Like, $30 million is so much. And he grabs me. Me and him were buddies during that training. He grabs me, takes me upstairs, 360 view of the whole world. He says, how much is this view worth, Vic? And I go, oh my God. He's like, well, I don't know how much God's worth, but it's probably less than 30 million. And I started chuckling. I was like, dude, you are a beast. And then he did his he did some little dancey frilly thing, right? And I was just cracking up. And he goes, Vic, the people that buy this house are going to say it's too much money, right? The people that buy this condo, they're going to say it's too much money. But when they sell the apartment, what is the person that's going to say when they buy it? It's too much money. And then when they sell it, what are they going to say? It's too much money. Because it's always going to be too much money for what it actually is. Bricks and mortar. He said, but look around. This will never change. Protected airspace on both sides. You'll never lose this view in right here. Yes, buildings will go up around it, but right here you still have that beautiful view. I think we're looking at, I don't remember what we're looking at. It was just, there's so many properties with views that he had. It's just mind-boggling. And you're always going to pay more for real estate than you want to pay. But guess what? If it's a unique property, if it's a special property, if there's something about it that's got them so entrenched, when they sell it, the next buyer is going to have the same feeling. And when that house with the pool in the front comes on the market and this house comes on the market and it's a tough market, which one's going to sell first? This one. Because the better properties always sell for more and they always sell first. So whatever you guys want to do is up to you. I support you guys. But we've been looking for the last 14 months and you haven't seen anything that even came close to you guys getting excited about. Let's see if we can negotiate that gap down. But we're only off by maybe 8 to 10%. And I know it sounds like a lot, but think about all the memories you're going to have inside of this property. Think about what you guys will be able to do that you haven't been able to do now. Think about the blah, blah, blah that they said they wanted and how this provides all of that. Because why don't you just finance the other $300,000 and have a $2K a month mortgage? No, we wouldn't do that. That's stupid. Okay, well, where should we go from here? All right, let's right. You're right. Let's go look at the house again. And I have this conversation sitting down in the living room, or I have this conversation, if they're drinkers, I'm going to bring a nice ass bottle of wine. And we're going to sit back in the patio. I'm going to kick my shoes off just like I have them right now. I'm going to have my shoes off. I'm going to stick my feet on the table. I'm going to untuck my shirt. I'm going to loosen my tie. I'm going to pour him a bottle of wine, and we're going to sit down and we're going to talk. I'm like, how does this feel? And then I'm going to shut the front door and let them talk.
Mhm.
And it'd be the best $75 for that bottle of wine you ever spent.
Yeah.
And now we're into the flow of emotion, not logic, because we can't negotiate until we open the door. But my job is to help them buy what they want. My job is not to control market pricing. My job, I don't control the sellers and I don't control the market. My job is to remind them of what they wanted and help them get there. And if nothing else is available, right, and too many agents take it upon themselves to play God. They're smart. They have $3 million cash. They're probably smarter than me. I don't have $3 million cash. I tried to rub 2 nickels together and get $1, but didn't work. So why am I going to tell somebody who's got the money that probably knows the comps as well as I do, if not better, anything? What they don't know, right? What they don't know, because they're only looking at it from a limited scope, is the full market perspective and dynamics. And that's where we come in and get paid the money we get paid. Because we don't get paid. So that's where you show them like, hey guys, another 12 months goes by. Another 12 months of memories lost. They're probably already, what, in their late 60s?
Yeah, early 70s, but they've only been looking 2 weeks for the rest.
Yeah, but
But it's because of their overarching goal.
What's their overarching goal?
Their overarching goal is to get out of the situation they're in with the family that they've been sharing a condo with for the last 25 years.
Oh, they haven't been
Their
looking.
own space.
They haven't been looking for 2 weeks. Oh, they've been looking mentally for a long time.
Yeah, mentally, she has, yeah, whatever. But no, I mean, it'll hopefully.
Yeah, I promise you, they have not been looking for 2 weeks.
No, just physically looking. She has. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
But the women rule. Go.
So, and that's what you keep pinging on, right? You keep pinging on that, like, what would life be like in your own space with your own ability to do this? And you guys are 70 years old. Like, what are we, like, where are we taking the money? And 2, how many more summers do we have left? I asked those questions, like, you guys, what do we, like, where are we taking this money to? And how many summers do you have left before you make a change? Like, I hit them hard, you guys, with emotion. Especially, like, I didn't even know who they were, but I knew they're in their old. I knew they're in their mid-60s. They're actually older. How did I know that? I never talked to you, just based off of the profile.
They have 3 other properties, and they have a lot of investment properties. They're not,
But they're not in those properties. They don't want those properties.
No, they're in those properties. They're different areas.
Yeah, but they want to be in this area, and you got to hit them with that.
Oh, we're here, yeah.
Yeah, so you got to. It's not about what else they have. It's about what they don't have.
No, I know. I'm just sharing with you. They're not like.
Of course, they're not poor, but so that's where I go with them. Is I'm going to go hard on the pain on. Like, I don't all the specifics. I don't have all of the details, but I'm going to go hard on that feeling. And their property is not going to go down in value,
right,
in the long run. In the short term, sure, it might go down in value, but they're not in it for the short term. They're in it for the long haul. In the long haul, United States real estate, unless the U.S. falls and is no longer a superpower, is only going to go one way, because since 2016 to 2025, prices have appreciated on average 44%. But if you go from the large market to the niche market, prices have appreciated hundreds of percentage points.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding percentages is very important, because you say on average year over year appreciation in this area, it's actually just inflation, but we call it something nicer for housing for some stupid reason. Inflation on housing has gone up 9%. Which means your money is relatively safe in this area.
Yeah.
So, that like numbers, percentages, like we have to know when to use numbers. We have to know when to use percentages. Like if you guys ever have questions about pricing to me, I'm always going to say, how much is it over? And you're going to give me a dollar amount. No, I want the percentage amount. I think it's 16%. Oh, okay. Well, that's not crazy. It's not like it's 40% like I was expecting it to be. 15%, that's kind of in the range. So you could probably get them down to the 2.8 pretty easily, but to get to the 2.6 is going to take a little bit more finessing of your offer. And to get your people to 2.6 because they're at 1.9, right? So like your people are like, well, we're coming up 700. Your people are like, well, we're coming down 400. You're like, I'm just trying to put this together with a little bit of love.
Yeah.
All right. Was that helpful?
Thank you. Yes.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Good. Thank you.
Sí. Huh? Good job. Good work.
Necesito desconectar.
I'm trying.
Necesito desconectar esto. No hay problema.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Huh? Told who? It's his first one, man. No, he gets scatterbrained.